froze up there for a minute. All right. Good evening, everybody. As always, got Vanguard here, absentee, and we got Moose in the house.
What's happening, folks?
What's up, gents? Let's get into
Got
this.
Vade in here too.
Do what?
Got Vade in here too.
Is she gonna come on? No.
I thought she was. No, I thought she was in here, but she's not. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm sorry, Ma. Just disregard me tonight.
It's all right.
Oh, look. Jay's throwing shade.
Eh,
Oh.
I learned that more of him a long time ago.
What's up, Spoon? Patriot Nation, what's happening?
Jay, you coming on or no? Probably not. I would have got a text message already.
The number I got for Jay doesn't work anymore, so I can't text him.
When I see a message from Jay, man, I get worried about opening it. I'm just saying.
Well, the places he hangs out, you know, I can understand that.
That happens to be where I got the squirrel butt plugs from.
Oh, damn.
Just saying. And those cupcakes that I sent you.
Cupcakes? Hang on.
You don't want to see those cupcakes.
Oh, never mind. That's a hard pass.
Oh, damn.
It came from Jay, so that's warning enough.
Wow. All right. Well, let's see if we get some more folks up in here.
They're easy then.
Yeah, they are. Hit the like button, folks. Kill the algorithm. Give them the finger.
So we're going to talk about our fallen in chief tonight.
You know,
Several
I'm really
other things.
surprised he didn't break something because, I mean, he hit the ground hard.
Yeah, it looked like somebody leg sweep his ass.
Yeah, that was better than the bicycle wreck he had. You remember that one, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he rode up and then all of a sudden he fell over. And you're like, what the hell happened?
They shouldn't have took the training wheels off that bitch.
You see where they tried to blame it where it had foot straps on it, which was a lie.
Are you shitting me? Seriously?
Yeah, they said he couldn't get his foot out of the pedal strap, and I was like, that fucking bike ain't got no pedal straps on it. What the hell?
I bet that motherfucker's so inept he has to wear Velcro tennis shoes.
Man.
You remember them things? I remember getting them for my grandkids, my kids.
Shit, they probably give him damn Walmart ambidextrine shoes. You can put them on either foot.
Look, man, you got a hand in this, okay? He is probably one of the few people in this world that has fallen not once, not twice, but 3 times upstairs. Not downstairs, going upstairs. He fell upstairs. That's talent. I don't give a damn who you are. That's talent.
It's definitely skill. I'd give him that.
I may or may not have done that in the past.
Well, we're going to say that it was done under duress or some shit. He just does it as a way of life. Snailed it. I hadn't heard that saying in a minute.
I thought I had that trademark.
Don't you get like $50 every time someone says that, Vanguard?
I upped it to 150 because it's not used enough. So I
Oh,
figure if I up the price, it'll compensate for the lack of use.
isn't it
There you
cash
go.
only?
Cash only.
Man, tell you, I feel bad for you.
Why?
You're gonna be signing over that Social Security check.
I think we signed over a damn thing because A, I don't get a Social Security check, and B, no, I'm gonna sign it over.
Hey, speaking of that, did y'all see where they're trying to do away with the loan forgiveness, trying to put a bill in for that, and then Biden said he's going to veto it if it comes to him?
Yeah, but Cassidy from Louisiana. Um, let's just say I'm ashamed of that senator. You know, now Kennedy's awesome, but anyway, Cassidy from Louisiana wrote that bill, and he says he has enough support in the House and all that, in the House and Senate to get it passed and kicked up to the president. And then he said, but Biden will probably veto it. And I'm like, all right, there's something shady because everything this guy does, there's an alternative motive behind it.
Well, let me ask you this, and I think we've had this discussion before. Even if he vetoes it, they could push it back through. How many times can he veto it before they override his ass?
Once.
Okay, so he can veto it once, but they send it back to his desk. He can't veto it a second time.
Not to my, if I remember correctly from in civics, and keep in mind, I I took that in ninth grade, which was like 4 years ago. You know, I'm young. Anyway, you know, if I remember correctly, he can veto it one time. It goes back to the Senate, and then the Senate can override, and then it becomes law.
Let me see.
I'm sitting here trying to find something about the COOF. Of course, I can't.
All right. So yeah, you're correct on that. If the president does veto it, they can do a veto override process, which means they'll have to have 2/3 of the votes from both the House and the Senate.
Okay. All right.
But there's a stipulation in there. If they change one vernacular in that bill,
Starts over.
it starts over.
Well, you know that'll happen. They'll do that just to kill it. Somebody.
Like I said, Cassidy does everything he does. There's an alternative motive behind it. You just got to figure out what it is. He's next to Lindsey Graham, in my opinion. He's the biggest rhino in the House.
Yeah, Lindsey Graham's pretty bad.
Well, I mean, Lindsey Graham, he straight up said that Biden's his friend, you know.
Well,
they're about the same age, aren't they? Well, no, I'm thinking.
No,
I'm thinking
Lindsey
Mitch.
Graham, I think, is like in the 60s or 70s.
I'm thinking of Mitch. I'm sorry.
Yeah, mumbling Mitch is like, you know, older than Methuselah.
I mean, when they both get out of politics, they can have walker races.
I'm talking about they're gonna race on rascals, have some drag racing burnouts, you know.
Well, it'll probably be a drag race, but a different one.
Hey, speaking of drag, did you see where those deviant fucktards, they canceled the thing in the Air Force, the drag show or whatever?
Do what?
The Air Force was hosting some kind of drag show and they canceled it.
They need to.
Because of the pressure from the Republicans.
Well,
some Republicans finally grew some balls and doesn't.
Hey, I'm kudos.
Yeah,
I'm proud.
yeah.
Yeah.
well, I mean,
Give
it
them the
only
golf
makes
clap.
sense that our tax money doesn't go to support a fucking tuck and drag, right? I mean, look, that is the one situation that when you tuck something in, it does not increase the speed of movement, right? When you streamline that, it doesn't help. You get what
Seems
I'm saying?
maybe uncomfortable. I mean, I
I'm
guess
gonna-
if you got Vienna sausage, it doesn't affect you. But
I'm going to take
Just
y'all's
saying.
word on that because I don't want to be the guinea pig to try to find out.
Well,
oh shit. Did you see where I think PetSmart's now getting hammered about this whole
Hang on a second.
LGBTQ 24, 64, whatever?
You know what the plus stands for, don't you?
The what?
The plus.
What the plus was?
Yeah, the LGBT whatever,
I guess it was to add on whatever they ran out of letters for.
Nope. It's gonna stand for and I got this off of a Buck Sexton podcast off the Sean Ryan show. And according to Buck Sexton, the plus stands for pedophiles. Pedophilia.
Don't get me started on that. It's a bunch of sick fucktards.
So that's what the plus, according to Buck Sexton, who was on the Sean Ryan show when he was saying what all they stood for. He said that's what the plus is going to stand for. It's going to stand for pedophilia because they're trying to streamline it to where it's not a crime. It's like you're attracted to blondes, for example. Blonde-headed, big boob women, you're attracted to that, or you're like Jay, you're attracted to Minnie Pearl or whatever. That's what they're trying to, go for. So,
damn, just damn. Sax man, I will never call them minor attracted. Just let me make that clear now. Never going to happen. I've never been known to be politically correct. I stay in hot water with my wife as it is. You know this. So, my filter broke about 15 years
if I have to be politically correct, yeah, I can't leave the house.
So, my filter's been broke a long time, and they don't make the damn replacement for it. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
it's like trying to get a part from Mopar for a truck that's 40 years old.
Yeah, I told a woman one time, I was like, ma'am, it's over there. And she went off on me as I didn't use the correct pronoun. And I was like, ma'am, I didn't mean to offend you. That was just an added bonus. Now, then I went to light into her, and my buddy was kind of grabbing me, pushing me out the door. And I was like, no, I want to go back over there and talk to that person. And he was like, no, dude, you're going to get us killed. So,
you mean you wanted to go back and have a conversation with Cousin Nit?
Yes. And my buddy was like, no, dude, two of us, probably 30, 40 of them, not a good idea. I'm like, well, I've got, 30, 40 friends with me also, but he was like, no, I don't know. Anyway, so. But yeah. So, yeah, I get in trouble a lot.
Okay. All right.
So, T, what was the deal with PetSmart?
Okay. Sorry. PetSmart is the latest big company to be embracing this whole LGBTQ plus whatever and pushing that whole agenda and support or whatever. But if you think about it, PetSmart's been doing that for a minute, and I don't now. Please don't take this the wrong way, okay? I'm less concerned about PetSmart doing it because it's not like they're trying to get in kids' heads necessarily. They're not trying to indoctrinate. I mean, maybe they're trying to indoctrinate your Dachshund or your German Shepherd or your Siamese. I mean, I don't know. But from what I've seen in history, that's not going to work because they're not going to, they don't roll that way. We're the only race on the planet that does.
I'm sorry. I'm trying so hard not to die laughing because it's like, what are you going to do? Tell your dog is now a transvestite?
Well,
You know,
I'm just saying. I mean, if you're going to get, if you go, damn, Sax, man.
I'd give anything right now to read the chat.
Okay, so going back to what I was saying, I'm less concerned about PetSmart supporting Pride Month. I'm refused to call it Pride Month. I'm calling it the month of deviancy. But you may have a point. You never know. But I don't have so much of an issue with them doing that as opposed to Target selling tuckable swimsuits. I mean, let's just be real.
Well,
You know,
Target did move all that to the back of the store, which didn't get rid of the problem. That's one of those out of sight, out of mind type deals, right?
right. If they wanted to get, I mean, if they wanted to get in front of the fucking problem, they would have took all that shit out. But that's not what they're doing. So they deserve what they reap. Bankrupt their ass.
I mean, look at Budweiser. They're partnered with Harley Davidson now doing ads. I mean, they're trying to do some serious damage control.
No, they're not trying to do serious damage control. Or again, they would get in front of it instead of doing all this sidestepping bullshit. You're catering to less than 1% of the fucking population in this country. But yet, it's more important to you for that micro-sized customer base. It's a bunch of deviants and damn mentally disabled. No, I'm not going to call them mentally disabled because that's not fair to the people who are truly mentally disabled. You get what I'm saying. You're more concerned with catering to that little bitty base than the people who put you where you're at. They deserve to get put out of business, period. I mean, I was in the racetrack today getting fuel, and I walked by the beer cooler. That so much was stacked slap up with damn Bud Light. I just chuckled. I said, you might as well go like hand that out to the homeless or something because nobody's gonna buy that shit. I mean,
All right. So I just found out what PetSmart's doing, right? So
right.
they're selling a Pride collection of animal like collars, leashes, shit like that.
Yeah.
So that's what they're doing.
Yeah, and
And
that's
look, what pisses me off the most, and I'm just going to be blatantly fucking honest. And I've talked to my daughter, my son, my wife about this. We're open. We all have the same mentality on the situation.
Hang on, whoa! You said you're open?
Huh? Yeah, I openly speak with my wife,
okay,
my kids about my political beliefs, and they support that. My kids actually absorbed.
I'm just making sure you're open. You're being open about your political beliefs and not your other, But anyway.
Yeah. So they know where I stand, and they fall in line with my same beliefs. Because my daughter she posted some of the most right wing comments on Facebook that you've probably ever seen, which is good. Proud moments, right? So what pisses me off about it is, and I don't know if everybody on here is God-fearing, whatever the case may be, but they have taken a symbol of religious belief. Like I can't even look at a rainbow for the reason that it's there, right? You know what I'm saying?
It's God's promise to never flood the earth again.
Right. So they've taken something that was so pure and honest for a human soul, right, and turned it into something just completely out of left field, just insane. And it pisses me off. I mean, used to, you'd ride down the road and you see a rainbow and shit like that. If I see a damn rainbow, I fucking stare back at the highway. You know what I'm saying? Like, fuck that thing. I don't want to fucking see that shit. And I hate that they've turned me into that type of person.
Yeah.
I mean, no,
Well, it's
sad. It's sad. I mean, that's all I can say.
it truly is. It's like Saxman said, they've hijacked Christian symbols. And I mean, if you think about it, this all kind of plays into the whole thing. They want to do away with the cornerstones of our society. If you think about it. And doing this is one of the ways you do it. You corrupt all the you take away the symbols of religion and corrupt them or twist them or whatever, and you start changing religion or completely making it frowned upon or ignored. That's when people stop having any morals and stop, having any real. They become very self-centered and I don't know if I'm going to say greedy, but their whole viewpoint changes. Does that make sense? You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
And it's them wanting to dismantle our way of life, and our own fucking elected officials are helping. They're participating in this. Our own government. I mean, at least that's how I see it. Why else would you push these ideologies upon us and our children and undermine our beliefs? I mean, and the very cornerstones the country's built upon.
Well, I mean, Biden came out and said, if I'm not mistaken, in one interview, he said that basically your kids are not even your kids. Your kids belong to the United States.
Yeah, well,
the government,
he can keep telling himself that shit. Good luck.
I'm like, okay, all right, Hoss, you may think that, but I'm sorry, but my kid's my kid.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, but you got a good point. Well, let's see here. We went over Sir Paul's a lot, and the fact that I will point out that the dude that fell was the real Biden with his ears.
Can we talk about the Biden crime family?
Yeah, sure. I'm all about slinging mud on the Bidens.
All right. I was listening to the Dan Bongino podcast today, and he dropped a bomb on me. I haven't had a chance to really look it up and dig into it, but apparently Biden took a $5 million bribe, like a blatant bribe. Like, here's $5 million, do this. And, he did it and all that. So, and, it's awful convenient that you're not seeing any of that hardly in the news at all. And then, they're like, oh, we got Trump cornered with this new deal we got where he's got this classified document. Biden had like 2 truckloads of documents, next to that safe place next to the Corvette. And, that was pictures,
right.
Back that up. And, they said like in the audio, you can hear Trump like crumpling papers and stuff. And they're saying that's the document, that it classified. It's something with Iran. I don't know.
Well,
but it's awful convenient that came out the same day the Biden deal came out.
Well, they've got their.
Trump's giving them headlines. I know that.
They've got their truffle hunters out there trying to dig up dirt. I'm sitting there reading a little bit right here. I just did a quick Google search on the Biden $5 million bribe. And the first headline above the New York Post, it says more on Joe Biden, our favorite president who's gotten more votes than any other president in history. In a remarkable coincidence, Ukrainian officials held a press conference in Kiev on June 13th, 2020, 17 days before the tip-off, where he showed a $5 million in cash allegedly offered in a bribe to end an investigation. Now, we all knew about that, right?
Yeah.
So this is a whole nother, see.
That other was like a couple of $1 billion. This is just 5 million, with an M, not a B.
Well, this is 5 million here.
Yeah, but the other bribe was for like $5 billion when he was vice president or something.
Yeah, I don't see anything for 5 billion. I see 5 million. It looks like there was more than one.
That's the one that like Bongino dropped today.
Right.
Podcast.
Okay.
That must be that one.
Okay. Well, the bottom line is that, again, here's somebody. I mean, if this had been somebody, I mean, think back to when Nixon was in office, and all the shit that came up behind that. And he was just doing Watergate. And now you got this that's been exposed, and it's like crickets. If Trump had taken a damn newspaper for free without paying for it, they'd try to crucify him.
It's kind of funny you mentioned that. Bongino in his podcast actually said Nixon was they try to say is like the most crooked president ever and all that. Just wait, it's going to be Biden before it's all said and done.
Well, also think about this too, guys. I still stand by my original argument that they want to get this shitbag out of office, but they want to do it in a way where he goes out with a little bit of dignity. I don't know if he has any left, but hey, who knows? I don't think the DNC wants him to run because they know he's not reelectable. Well, I take that back. He might be in some folks' eyes here in the afterlife. But that being said, I don't think they want him to be the nominee because he's going to get chewed up. And can you see him in a debate? Even if you got Chris Wallace running it, you can't. There's no way you can protect somebody that's that much of a fucking idiot and that senile. You can't do it. You can softball all night long. They're still going to stammer and stutter and drool. And I just don't think that the DNC is wanting him to run for re-election. They're just trying to figure out a way to not Article 25 his ass and get him out of there. Thoughts?
Well, I think that Kennedy is who they really want to run. That's why he's running. And I think that they're trying to, like you said, get him out of there or let him finish his term and then have him kind of step away. Because I don't think he hadn't run one campaign ad or anything. I mean, they're not even having a Democrat debate for the primaries.
I have a feeling that there's a lot of moving parts on this.
Well, I mean, that proves your point that, they're not even going to have a Democratic primary debate, That kind of proves it's one of two things. Either they're not even going to entertain the idea of anyone else running against him, or they're trying to protect him from the debates.
Yeah, but here's the thing. How can you, in the history of this country, since we've had television or radio, okay, there's always been a presidential debate. So the people can hear your views, your opinions, this, that, and other, right? And you're going to tell me that now he's going to sidestep that because he can?
No. There'll be a presidential debate. I just said for the primaries for the Democratic Party.
Yeah, but even that, I'm saying they're same difference. You're going to tell me that he's going to sidestep that, and that's not giving I don't know if due process is the right term, but everybody here understands where I'm coming from. That's not giving fair due process to the other candidates.
Well, that it's not letting the voters hear what your platform is.
Well, exactly. So the thing to do if they pull a stunt like that, what I would do if I was another Democratic candidate, I would get with the other Democrat candidates and we would have our own televised thing without him. And that would put him further in the shitter because here he wouldn't even attend one. And so we had to come into pocket and pay for our own. You know, I would do that.
All right, but look at the other side of the coin here on that. You're still protecting them.
Yeah, but even though you're protecting him, think about this. Granted, 75% of the Democratic voters out there are either going to be sucking down hot wings and drinking a cold beer, or chasing after baby mama, or watching, I don't know, Survivor or Dance with the Stars, or Antifa goes wild in Key West or some shit. I don't know. But that other 25% is going to say, whoa, wait a minute. He won't debate and he wants to be reelected, but the other nominees are going, or the other runners, or whatever you want to call them, the other nominees are going to sit here and go, we're going to debate and talk the issues and let voters know where we stand, unlike our,
Well,
challenge.
I'm a Monday morning quarterback. Yeah, his handlers who should be charged with elder abuse, in my opinion, at this point. They'll wait for the debate to come out and then run ads in the papers.
Even so, that's not okay. How many people read a paper now?
Well, I'm just saying they'll figure out a way to get their, whether it's from the White House, press corps, or whatever they call that. What's
right? I understand what you're saying. Think about this now. People watch a lot of damn TV, especially lazy folks.
Hey, I'm one of those people that watches a lot of TV.
Okay, but you don't hang on every word from Communist News Network.
No, I haven't watched. I take that back. I did watch a little bit of CNN about 6 or 7 months ago to see if they actually talked about this one story, and my girlfriend timed it. I only watched it for 8 minutes because I couldn't take it.
Well, you probably lost brain cells.
Yeah. I mean, I'm hovering around 30 IQ points. So.
Yeah, you need to protect those 30 IQ points. You might need them. So, but
I mean, she even said I was fucking crazy. Pardon my French there. She said I was, effing crazy for even trying to watch CNN to see if they run the story, because she, knew good and damn well they weren't going to talk about it, and they didn't.
Well, you just wanted to humor yourself. That's all. So
that's the first time I've watched that channel in, oh God, probably close to 10 years.
Well, you heard that whoever's in charge of the Communist News Network now, they're saying they want to go to a more balanced reporting. Did anybody hear that?
Okay, I'll bite. What's the punchline?
There is no punchline. That CNN's so far in the toilet. I mean, look at all the people they've had to cut loose. Nobody takes them seriously that can count above 20. And, I mean, they've destroyed themselves as a media outlet. So they're trying to rebuild it because, I mean, look at where Fox is now. Fox is doing the same thing CNN did. They're following in their footsteps. Since Rupert Murdoch is no longer in charge of that media outlet, it's going to straighten the shitter. I foresee, Fox taking a nosedive into the toilet too, but CNN's trying to figure out a way to be more balanced so they can stay relevant. because they've lost so much viewership.
I gotta say this: how funny would it be if Tucker landed there?
Stranger shit has happened. I mean, anything's possible, I guess. But we'll just wait and see, you know? So, Vanguard, you got any more thoughts on this whole Russia-Ukraine thing where now Russia's launching missiles into Kiev? I guess it's retaliation.
Well, I seen something the other day that was, well, I guess it was yesterday. You know, they talked about the drone attacks on civilian buildings in Russia, right?
Uh-huh.
They're making a big deal about it, like, oh my God, I can't believe that Ukraine attacked a civilized building, you know, with civilians in there and all that good shit. Look, Russia has been hitting civilian populated areas the entire time.
Yeah.
The entire time. So why is it not a big deal then? Speaking of, you know, they're trying to bring Putin up on war crime violations, you know?
Yeah.
Now, they did an interview with the leader of Africa. I don't know do they call that the president as well?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So they did an interview with him, and, you know, Putin is due to go to Africa for some meeting or something.
Talking
Right?
about South Africa?
Maybe. I don't know. It didn't specify, but they're supposed to have some meeting there, you know, meeting of the leaders. And some guy asked the president of Africa or South Africa, whichever one it was, you know, whenever he shows up there, are y'all going to arrest him? Because it'll be the first time that Putin's been out of country since all this shit started.
Right.
So they asked him, they said, are you going to arrest him? And he's like, no. And they're like, well, why wouldn't you? He said, could you imagine trying to arrest a leader of a nation? He said, do you know how that would go over?
Your country get invaded.
Yeah, I mean, he's like, no. He's like, he's a leader of a nation just because, you know, there's a war going on. And what he said made sense. He's like, you know, they're bringing him up on war crimes for attacking Ukraine and stuff like that. And he was on point. I hate to say it, he was on point. None of us really supported the Iraqi war. And I know that's a touchy situation, but the reason for that attack was a lie. We can all agree on that. They did not have weapons of mass destruction like they said, right?
If they did, they were not in the quantity we were led to believe.
Yeah, if they did, they were rushing it out to Syria before we got there. But
right, but either way, there was never any found.
Correct.
All right. So what he said was, you know, if you wanted to draw up, and I'm not in support of what Putin's doing, but this guy made a valid point. And we've all got to be center line and in the center lane on this stuff because that's what we do here, right? We don't fluctuate off of feelings. We fluctuate off of facts. So what he said was, you know, y'all got Putin brought up on war crimes. He's like, wouldn't you think it was a war crime to go kill millions of people in a country over a false claim? And I couldn't deny it. I couldn't say, no, this motherfucker's wrong. You know what I'm saying? Because he was right.
No, I mean.
Also, who's to say it wasn't a rogue general and Putin never gave that order?
Right. I mean, there's no way of knowing.
Well,
I mean, I'm not trying to defend Putin here at all. I'm just looking at it from another angle.
Well, Putin's always said, though, he wanted the former Soviet Union restored his greatness or whatever. He's old school KGB. Is he not?
Yes.
So, you know, I think he would like to take Ukraine back? Oh, sure. Absolutely. But here's the thing, too, and I'm with Vanguard. I'm not taking his side, but think about this for a second. And we may have had this discussion on the last live we had, just somebody tell me to shut up. But think about all the NATO personnel on his border in Poland, Germany, all these different countries just hanging out or close to his border. Okay? Now, that's no different than, say, China rolling a bunch of missile batteries into Mexico in the Sonoran Desert, pointing them at us. No difference.
So let's go back to the beginning, right? NATO's involved. Now, let's keep in mind who pushed this NATO agenda, right? That would be tripping Biden, right?
Yep.
Lindsey
Okay,
Graham, yeah.
So he pushed this. Now, the agreement that Russia had with Ukraine when they were able to separate, right, to get rid of the Soviet Union was you give us all your nuclear weapons and you can never join NATO. That was the deal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was written in ink.
Yep.
And then you've got Biden over there fucking pushing the agenda. Oh, join us. We'll take care of you. Join us. And he pushed the limit. When Russia started rallying up troops and putting them on the border, our country should have backed up and said, whoa, wait a fucking minute. This dude's serious. He's not just posturing. He's getting ready.
Yeah.
And then when you send out threats, that, hey, if they do something, what did Biden call it? What was the phrase he used? I can't even remember.
Did it have something to do with toasters?
I think it was bicycle reflectors or something. I don't know.
There you go.
But anyway, so they pretty much just, I'll just call it like it is. Our president, right?
Yeah.
Was pushing something and bolstering an activity that he knew was going to cause conflict.
Sure.
Now, here's the facts.
Since that conflict has started, we have one senator that has said we need to assassinate Putin. We need to assassinate Putin.
No, we need to pull the hell out of Ukraine and let the cards lay where they fall.
That's kind of my opinion. Somebody asked me, who I supported in that war, and I said neither one of them. I support America.
Right, but wars have happened since the beginning of time. This is the way it works. Okay, one nation's stronger than the other. They beat them. They take over. That's how it fucking works. Sorry. I mean, that's just the way it is. That's the way that the cookie crumbles, right?
Yep.
You don't go in there and get your ass beaten and say, ha, I won. I mean, that's not the way it works. So we're shucking out, billions and billions of dollars for an endless cause. Completely endless. Now, conspiracy theory time, right?
Yep.
Now, there's been statements made that the reason that Russia wanted Ukraine back is because of some non-favorable political actions that they take, right?
Right.
So what if it's true?
At this point, I mean, okay, here's how I see things. We can't trust our own government and the shit we hear from our media, all right? Because we've seen who's running the show. So you can't believe what you're hearing from that side of the fence. And I'm going to go as far as to say you can't believe what's coming from the other side either, because they're spinning their own propaganda. So the truth's somewhere in the middle. I believe that there's a lot of shit that is handled through Ukraine as a proxy by the United States and a lot of the Western world. And if it goes back over to Soviet control or Russia control, they lose that. And it's because there's a lot of dirt. Now, as far as from the Russian perspective, I think it has more to do with resources and land grabbing personally, but you're right. They did violate, a written agreement. A guideline was put in place to let them be an independent state.
Well,
So,
here's the thing. Let's put this in perspective, right? And I'm playing devil's advocate. You know how I am. So Japan, we're going to use Japan as the center point of this conversation to kind of make my point. So Japan attacked us. Okay, we went over there and stomped the shit out of them. I can't say it any nicer, right?
mhm,
And the agreement was that Japan can never go on the offense ever.
correct.
Y'all with me? They can only set up in defensive form. So if Japan decided to go into the offensive and break the agreement with America, and we go over there and attack them, would we be the Holy Grail? We'd be like, oh, we were in our rights because they broke an agreement. You see what I'm saying?
I guess it would depend on the circumstance. If they showed aggression, let's say, towards Australia, let's just use that for an example.
One of our allies.
Correct. Then I could see us saying, no, sorry, we're about to curb stomp you. But if they're just saying, fuck you, we're an independent country, this, that, and the other, blah, 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 not so much.
Right, but you best believe that with our political standpoints and the way that America tries to spin shit, they would put it that we were in the right no matter what the situation is.
Sure.
Yeah.
Which would actually be in similarity to the situation with Russia. Right? They're taking the country back because they're
theoretically, yes.
Yeah, Ukraine was going to join NATO. I'm telling you, that was going to happen. There was some backdoor bullshit going on, and then it slipped out, and then Putin got a hold to it, and he did a preliminative attack. I mean, that's the way it is.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So the point I'm making is if we found out that Japan was about to align with, I don't know, we'll say fucking China or some crazy shit, right? Somebody, one of our nemesis. And then we go in there and we start attacking them. Are we in the right or are we in the wrong? Same principle. They went back on their word, right? Or potentially went back on their word, and we go in and start attacking them.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're about to go into a fighting match with somebody, right? A hand-to-hand combat fighting match, and they're skinny, little fucking soy boy, whatever. Are you going to give them time to posture up, put on 150 pounds, hit the fucking roids, get ready to crack your skull, or are you going to go in and hit them before it happens?
Oh, I'm going to hit them before they call it 20 of their buddies.
There's going to be some preemptive curb stomping.
Yeah.
So think about it. What did Putin do? He went in and attacked before they were able to join NATO and have their buddies fight for them. That's exactly what happened. And I'm looking at this in a war stance, right? The way that you stop the way you take an advantage away from somebody is you hit them before they expect it.
Right.
Or, so to say, you cut the head off the snake, right? So 9 times out of 10, if you're about to get in a fight, if you throw the first punch and you land that sumbitch correctly, you're going to win the fight. That's the way it works. Don't let them think about it. Don't let them prepare for it. Don't let them go pick up baseball bats and shit. You go ahead and take them out. So that's what's happening. And I mean, I may be a cold-hearted bastard right now, you know what I'm saying? But that's facts.
Well, all right. I'm going to play devil's advocate here for a second with you. In the famous words of Mike Tyson, everyone's got a great plan until they get hit in the mouth.
That's right.
Ukraine, they got, Russia invaded Ukraine, thought it was going to take 2 weeks to take the country over, and they're still over there fighting for inches.
But would they if we wasn't backing them?
Good question.
Because I think that they're getting a false sense of security.
Well, we also gave them an unlimited checkbook, but
Right, but and we can go back to another fight situation, right? A guy will talk all kinds of shit to you when they're standing face to face if they got their buddy standing there, but if they're solo, right, it changes shit.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
Ukraine's got all these countries that's backing them. You got the U.S. mainly, right? We've funded them more than all other countries combined.
Yeah, and they're poking out that chest. So
Yeah. Let me switch gears with you for a second because, yeah, Ukraine could drag us into a war over there. But let's talk about China and what's going on with there because their leaders, their military leaders, won't even meet with us. And they're doing a bunch of things right now that, like, for example, some jet wash on a surveillance plane yesterday, I think. They had
recently, I saw that.
yeah, it was yesterday. They had a fighter jet fly in front of one of our surveillance planes. Well, the jet wash could have knocked that plane out of the sky. Next thing you know, we're in a war. Because the media twisted it to where they shot a missile and took that plane down. No, they didn't. It was a jet wash, but still. I mean, they're and their military leaders won't even meet with ours.
That's a respect issue. They do not respect the United States.
Nope, they do not. You're absolutely right. Because the whole thing is that it's like somebody said the other day. If that had been Trump in office, that shit would never happen. Because they respected Trump as much as they didn't like him. And Trump would go play ball with them at least. He would go there and he would deal with them kind of like, I think he dealt with them more as a businessman than a politician trying to fuck him.
Well, Trump, and I'm going to use Kim Jong-un for example, because I think he did tweet this. Kim Jong-un said he's got his finger on a button or something like that. And Trump said, yeah, I've got my finger on my button, but the only difference is my button works.
That's the New York in him.
Yeah, but you talk about respect. He's the only president to ever step on North Korea soil.
Yeah.
Ever.
That's what I'm saying.
So I don't know. I don't want to so much as say it's just respect for Trump or it is as much as fear, right?
I think it was a combination.
Yeah, I mean, because they knew if he said, look at here, I'll come fuck you up, that the possibility was there. Yeah,
I mean look at Taliban, for example. He told the Taliban, hey, if one of our soldiers so much as slips on a banana peel, I'm going to bomb your village back to the damn Stone Age. Here's where it is, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden, Taliban, they're like, oh, hey, Americans, here's a bottle of water. Come on in and have a meal with us. And then all of a sudden Biden takes over and, with the botched withdrawal and everything. And then they're attacking us and everything else. So that right there should show you that, no one has any respect for our administration or our military leaders.
Correct.
Well, and that withdrawal thing, I'm still pissed off about that because, they set up a certain date to be withdrawn from there, and it was a crunch time, right?
Yeah, they told everybody, hey, we're withdrawing on this day.
Right. And that's when you roll up in there and say, you know what? No, we'll leave when we're good and fucking ready.
Yep.
What are you going to do about it? I mean, they could have easily fought them off. I mean, we fought off all those crazy asses for years, 20 plus years, right? What would have been 2 more weeks?
Or a month,
right? To get all of our shit out of there and get all of the people out of there safely. I mean, it was just that simple. But no, we got to make this crunch date just because somebody wrote it down on a fucking calendar. No, damn that. Grow a pair of balls and stand up. That's what America used to be about, is standing up for what we believe in and standing up for what's right.
Yep.
but nobody does that anymore. We sit here and talk about it every day, every live, and we talk about, doing the right thing, but that's not the American consensus anymore. Nobody gives a shit. They care about their own self-preservation, right?
Yep.
So they want the only reason that people are doing this woke bullshit, right, is because it's the popular thing right now. They want to get talked about.
I'm gonna quote someone, and General Norman Schwarzkopf from the first Iraq War.
Stormin' Norman.
All right, I'm gonna give you a quote from it. Everyone knows the right thing to do. The hard part is doing it.
Exactly. Nobody's willing to stand alone because it's not popular.
Exactly. I agree.
I mean, you take YouTube, for instance, right? We're on here twice a week, spitting facts, spitting truth. Nobody wants to hear that shit.
Nope.
They'd rather go watch some jackass hoof fucking fairy dust out of a vacuum cleaner. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's bullshit. I mean, am I lying?
Damn, that paints the picture.
I mean, that's just the truth.
Fastest way to heat up a hot pocket.
This is true.
People's minds are bent, man. I mean, I don't know. I don't know where we turned at, honestly. We blame other generations and shit like that, but the American way was you can do what you want to do, be what you want to be, and this free country, right? But I'm gonna go ahead and tell you right now, there ain't a damn thing free. Have you ever gotten anything free?
I tell you right now, if we're a free country, why does it cost so damn much to live here? And I mean that like income taxes, sales taxes. Why does it cost us so much to live here? If it's free, if it's a free country and everything, why does it cost so much to live here?
All right, and y'all may notice this too. All right. Has any of y'all noticed that? I don't know if y'all got your tax statements and all that, but have you noticed that last year to this year, your property value, home and all, right? Even if you didn't do any damn thing to it, didn't add a structure, didn't do anything, it went up like 20%. Why do you think that is?
Actually, mine went down $20.
Mine went up a lot.
Yeah, mine did too.
But my property taxes have literally doubled, and since I moved in this house in 2004, and but yeah, it went. I got my property tax statement. I was figuring it was going to go up again. I got it, and I was like, I think that's cheaper. And I pulled last year's, and it was $20 cheaper.
I mean, I'm seriously thinking about throwing a couple junk cars in the front yard and letting the mildew grow up on the house. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I did.
I mean, geez. So why did they do that? Why did they up our taxes 20%, right? Because that means you're going to have to up the value of your house increases by 20% each year. That's increasing your tax value by 20%. That's all it's doing.
It's increasing your insurance too.
Exactly.
Everything's by design. See, I truly believe since they didn't achieve the Great Reset like they would like to, it didn't go off as originally planned, can't get people behind it. And rest assured, the United States is the only thing standing in the way of that. That they're trying to price the American dream unattainable. Owning your own home. I know where I live, you can't get a house because all the houses, I mean, they've raised the property value so much, and it's got to be a bubble because there's no way the property where I'm at almost quadrupled. Okay. So, and I'm not talking about over 20 years, I'm talking about over 2. Okay. So what's happening is all these investment companies are coming and buying up all the houses, and they're snatching them up, In a family, like if you say, you just got married and got a kid, or you got family, you moved here, you want to buy a house, you're competing with all these different investment companies on that house. You can't get one. You end up having to rent from them and pay, more than what a damn house note would have been. You can't afford it. And I think they're trying to take as much of that market away from the working class and the working family so they can never obtain it. So they're more apt to jump on board the whole NWO idea where, we'll give you everything, you just do what you're told.
Another thing is they're wanting to put government housing in like certain areas. And I mean, this you can look this up. I mean, there's what's his name? I think it was like Charles Barkley or somebody, some famous big shot basketball player had like a bunch of property he bought, and they were going to put in some government housing, which would have decreased the property value of the property he bought.
Yeah.
And he sued the city and won, and they, blocked it. But that was something Obama was wanting to do.
Well, yeah. I mean, because here's the thing, and it's like the old saying goes, Democrats, they're the best. They're the most skilled at spending other people's money. And they have no problem taking government funds and helping push government housing or low rent housing, because if they do that, that's to help ensure they have more voters for the voter base. They don't want people that are self-sufficient or have their own businesses or, get out there and go to their 9 to 5 and do a good job and work to provide. They don't want those kind of people as voters. They want people that are dependent on them.
Well,
so that's why they keep pushing it.
The government wants everyone dependent on them.
Well,
it's the government tit, basically,
Well, yeah, one side of the government is open about it, and the other side says they don't, but they kind of do, because they're all in bed together. When they get out from in front of a television camera or a reporter, they're all at the same steakhouse or whorehouse.
So I'm gonna read something to y'all about the greatest country in the world, right? All right, so I'm gonna read this verbatim, pretty much. I may paraphrase a little bit. So, America, it said, we stood up for what was right. We fought for moral reasons. We passed and struck down laws for moral reasons. We waged wars against poverty, not poor people. We sacrificed. We cared about our neighbors. We put our money where our mouths were. We never beat our chest. We built great big things, made ungodly technology advances, explored the universe, cured diseases, and cultivated the world's greatest artists and the world's greatest economy. We reached for the stars and we acted like men. We aspired to be intelligent. We didn't belittle it. It didn't make us feel inferior. We didn't identify ourselves by who we voted for in the last election, and we didn't scare so easy. And we were able to be all these things and do all these things because we were informed by great men who are revered. The first step in solving any problem is recognizing that there is one. So y'all take that how you want to see it.
Yeah.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Our country used to stand for something. Now, no. Whoever's got the most TikTok votes.
Yeah, isn't that the truth?
Or likes, whatever. I don't have TikTok, so I don't know how that shit works.
I don't either.
I can't stand TikTok. It irritates the shit out of me.
I'm kind of with you, Vanguard. I don't have TikTok. I don't know how it works. And I don't plan on learning either. So,
right, but that's how the world functions now. It's sad. It's truly sad.
Yeah. Well, we definitely live in I don't know what the word is I'm looking for. Trying times. to say the least.
I would have
Well,
said ass backwards, but
yeah, and I'm not on here to bash our country. I love my country, but I do not love the state that it's in.
Correct. We all love the country. I think that's why we're all here. We love our country, but we despise what it's becoming. We're not on board with it. We're watching the there you go shitscape. That's a good call. Um, this is not what any of us foresaw or signed up for.
we're watching the 1% tell the 99% how to live.
Correct. Less than 1%. If you think about it, if you took all the politicians and bunched those sorry fuckers together, they would be less than 0.5% of the population, if that. Probably less than that, more like 0.1%.
And that's too many.
Yeah. Yeah, 100 politicians ain't worth one honest, God-fearing, hard-working American.
I remember about 5 to 7 years ago, a bunch of people saying they were going to leave the country and all this. If this happened, and it happened, and they didn't leave.
Fuck no.
And I'm like, hey, look, I'll buy your airline ticket. You just get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
They can't leave. Nobody else wants them fuckers there either.
No. It's just like all these damn Hollywood fucktards. I'm going to leave. I'm going to move if Trump gets elected or this happens. That. Well,
bye.
Didn't he get you a fucking Uber to the airport?
I never liked George Clooney's fucking movies anyway.
I'll buy you a Slurpee for the road.
Slurpee my ass. Get my fucking soy latte that I pissed in. I
wouldn't waste the piss, but anyway.
I'm just saying. I'm sick of these people who, to me, when it's a politician or.
Leave that up for a second so I can read it.
Yeah, he's probably right.
Oh no, he is right. That's the reason they were talking about shutting it down one time, but they never did. Because
they're not going to shut down TikTok because it would piss off the people who they want to, on one hand, not like, and on the other hand, hold their hand.
No,
if they got rid of TikTok, it would take away one of their biggest political tools.
Yeah, but they don't like that because, see, they can't police it.
There's a book. I read a book a while back, and anyway, they were talking about how China does business and stuff, and how China does business is they kind of give you free reign to bash them to an extent, and then they'll say, hey, back off this subject.
Right. Well, the whole thing I understood is the reason the federal government wanted to shut down TikTok is because they couldn't control it like they did Twitter and Facebook and everything else. They had no way to control it.
That, and they had like a pretty good outcry from the American public, if I'm not mistaken, about it being Chinese owned, and when all that came out.
Yeah, but I don't think they give a fuck about what the American people feel. It's only about them wanting to be able to control a narrative. And that's why they don't like TikTok, because they can't control it.
Yeah, because China's running it.
Yeah. Yeah, China's running it, but China would allow, say, Dan Bongino to go on there and drop truth and talk about whatever, and if it didn't coincide with the narrative that the deviant shitbags in the White House want to run, they can't get it yanked or flagged or violates community standards, any of that bullshit.
Actually, was he on? I don't know. He may have been on TikTok and got kicked off.
Who?
Bongino, I think. I know Steve Oatley kind of got in some trouble on TikTok because he would go on there and spit facts to him, and
Well, the way it was always read to me was that the federal government couldn't get in there and control it like they. I mean, you used to have feds with their own office at Twitter. So that kind of says it all right there. It's like fucking Pravda.
Actually, I think they were retired feds, but I think they were still working for the Fed, but on paper, I think they were retired or had stopped working for the federal government to go to work in the private sector. And
It may be, but the fact you've got people like that there,
yeah, like I said, I mean, they may have been retired or whatever, but they were still. You mean to tell me they weren't talking to the people, at the Washington office? Yeah, right, dude. I ain't buying it. If you buy that, I got some beachfront property in Wisconsin to sell you. And I can tell you right now, the views from Hawaii up in Wisconsin are beautiful. I'll sell it to you for a special price.
I don't know, dude. You'll be proud to know as I was doing a search on Google for, FBI office at Twitter, big old ad off Twitter comes up. It's got the rainbow and says Pride. The FBI celebrates Pride Month.
Honestly, I think the FBI is a joke.
It is, but here's my whole argument. Why in the fuck is a government agency celebrating anything? It's not their fucking place. Do your job.
Last time I checked, they're civil service, correct?
Correct.
And if I'm not mistaken, you're not supposed to get political in a civil service job.
Well, that went out the damn window. Because all of these different agencies are politicized now. They're all weaponized to serve the bedshitter in chief, to protect him and whatever malfeasance he's in the middle of.
Actually, I would have said him and his son, but yeah.
Well, it's one and the same.
And his brother. And his niece. And a few of his cousins.
We can only hope that we get that dumb son of a bitch voted out, or whoever his predecessor is, and we get somebody in there with a moral compass that's there to at least halfway serve the people instead of themselves. So, fingers crossed while I pray.
I just pray that American people wake the fuck up.
Well, I just don't. I hate to sound, to repeat myself and sound like a negative Nancy here, but I honestly do not believe the American people are going to wake up until it directly affects them. That's going to require a lot of bad shit to happen, and by then it's going to be too late.
All right, I'm going to use Portland, for example. Look how bad that city's gotten in the last 4 or 5 years. And it still hasn't gotten bad enough yet for the people to vote people out of office. It hadn't hit. We're on our way down. We hadn't hit bottom yet. People haven't had a belly full of it yet.
Well, like I said earlier, when they can't take their EBT card and go fill up their grocery cart or afford gas for that big ass SUV with the spinners and 2 different color corner panels, or they can't go and get that big, huge ass widescreen TV to watch the next George Foreman fight or whatever. Or when their government checks get cut off or any of that shit, or when that stuff happens, when it costs them $10 for a box of fucking Hot Pockets, you might see people start waking the fuck up. The problem is, by then the hyperinflation is going to be here. The dollar's going to be in the shitter.
3 to 5 years is what you're looking at right now, because with that bill they just passed with the debt ceiling, they essentially handed Biden a blank fucking check.
Yeah, but the debt ceiling doesn't really.
It's going to affect us because you handed him a blank check. Therefore, we're fixing to go into some serious debt because until 2025,
we're already in serious
inflation.
We'll be out of office before 2025. The problem is
He'll be out of office 2024. But the problem is you handed him a blank check for a year and a half.
Yeah, but he's going to have to be real careful what he does now because he's got us on the brink of wars on two different fronts.
Y'all see that?
Trump right to.
No, I did not see that.
I did. So everybody knows what an anchor baby is, right?
Yeah. How do you
Okay.
feel about that?
I think it's bullshit. Motherfucker gets knocked up, and then after 8 months and 2 fucking weeks, they jump the border,
Download a critter.
pop a cub out, right?
Mm-hmm.
They've been
All of a
doing
sudden,
that
they're a
for
citizen.
years.
They're a fucking citizen.
Yeah. What I meant when I said, what do you think about it? Did you support what Trump said or didn't support it?
I support it.
I do too. I
What do you
mean,
say? Because I was trying to read it.
He said, did we mention Trump wants to use executive order to end anchor baby status?
I'm for that. I mean, I'm sorry. I think you should be here for at least, I'd say, 4 or 5 months pregnant. You shouldn't just walk across the border and labor and then just to give birth here.
I'm sorry. I'm going to go further than that. I think no.
I think if you come in illegal, your ass gets deported with all baggage included.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
I'm there because I don't. If that child was, whether you had that baby here, there, crossing Rio Grande, got pregnant on the back of a train coming through Guatemala, I don't give a fuck. If you're here illegally and you get caught, you and all your shit and everything else gets packed up and sent back across the border, kids and all. I'm not trying to sound cruel here, but it's the fact.
Well, I mean, all right, you go rob a bank and get caught. What happens to you?
Go to jail.
Go to jail. All right, and that's called breaking the law, correct?
Well,
Are we in agreement with that?
Yeah.
it depends
All
unless
right.
you're
So
oppressed.
if someone comes in the country illegally, they are what? Breaking the law.
Yeah. Federal law.
And it's the same as robbing a bank. I mean, it's because it's called a felony.
Well, it has to be enforced. That's the problem.
True.
And while I'm all for busting them all over to these blue shitholes and dumping them there, but that's a Band-Aid.
You still got to take care of them. They're
Well,
still get some
right,
federal
because what's
money
going
in
to
it.
happen, the blue shithole's going to take care of them and they expect us to bail them out with federal money, and the federal money is going to happen.
Well, look, here's the thing. To come into the country legally, this is all you got to do. All you got to do is come through a designated checkpoint and not be a fucking criminal. It's that simple. And it's not hard to get in here legally. People do it all the time.
Yeah. You're right. It's not hard. You just got to know how to do it and where. I mean, we've got a porous border as it is.
Well, right now, from everything I've read and news reports and everything else, they're coming across the border and running to the border agents. So they don't really have to go to a checkpoint because, they're coming across and looking for border agents.
Well,
I mean, they're flooding in like a pinata just exploded. So
yeah, but we need to be more like some of our European brothers about people coming over into our country and have a hard border.
Yep. Finish the damn wall.
I'm cool with the wall. I think when you're in the military, now I understand you can't operate U.S. military on U.S. soil. That's fine. But you sure as hell can operate National Guard. That National Guard have full control. Let them man that damn wall, have Border Control handle the foot traffic.
Well, you can if it's a national threat.
Yeah, but you got to be careful about that Vanguard because you give. I mean, I guess it would depend on who's in charge of the DOJ and the military.
Well, you got Seneca Lada, and it says you cannot deploy U.S. military troops on U.S. soil. And that's kind of the vague override, if I remember correctly. And that's a whole constitutional nightmare. Now if they declare martial law, then yes, I think you can deploy U.S. military troops.
Yeah, but I think that only applies as using military force on American civilians. You see what I'm saying? You get where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
American citizens.
Yeah, because if they're here illegally, guess what? You can't enforce shit. They're not citizens.
Correct. So that's the point I'm getting at. And we've already proven that they're a threat. They're coming in, with fucking loads of fentanyl, which is
Don't forget about the terrorists.
Yeah, you got terrorists
that we've caught. Not gotaways that we've caught.
I mean, I don't know about y'all, but that seems like a national threat to me.
I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying if you're not careful, the government and military will trample over civil liberties and the Constitution.
Yeah, I get that. They do that already.
And that's my concern. It gives too much unilateral authority and doesn't really give the citizens any kind of. You're kind of screwed.
Tell you, I'm gonna go ahead and say something. Your worst nightmare is already happening. Now, I mean, they don't really care about your civil liberties. Look at all the people from J6 that are still sitting in a damn jail.
Well, what ought to happen is whoever gets in office, if we get somebody that's not from the Democrat Party, they'll turn around and pardon every one of them. If they didn't commit a crime, pardon them.
If they didn't commit a crime, pardon them. I think they should have due process, and have their day in court. And that's just my opinion on it.
I don't think
they went in and broke windows and vandalized and trespassed and all that. Yes, prosecute. But they didn't.
Not all trespass though.
None of them trespassed. As far as I'm concerned, none of them trespassed.
Well,
that's the people's building.
Like I said, if they trespassed in some form or fashion, I'm not saying that. Yes, I agree 100%. That is my building, just as much as it's yours, just as much as it's Vanguard's, and everyone's watching.
I mean, I'm with you on the damaging part.
Yeah, if they damage something, that's on them. I get that. But
yeah, because I mean, they come in my house and break some of my shit. I'm fucking cracking skulls. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Due process for those that actually committed a crime, not just showing up, right?
Yeah. If we don't have video evidence of you physically tearing some shit up and can identify you, you're pardoned, you're out. Deuces. And if you did break something and we've got it and we find out that there was collaborators with you, like brown shirts from the federal government, we're going after them.
I mean,
I don't care what agency they work for. If you participated in setting it up on the people, your ass is going to prison if we catch you.
Yep. Something called entrapment. So
I would go as far as possibly calling some of it treasonous, depending on what they did.
Well, I mean, that's illegal, and entrapment. That'd be like you falling out behind a damn law officer, right? And they're not lit up or nothing like that. And they're running 70 and a fucking 55 and you're following them, right? And then they throw their lights on and pull your ass open.
Mm-hmm.
Same principle.
Yeah.
It's bullshit.
Absolutely. But isn't there some kind of written law about inciting a riot or a civil uprising or some shit like that? Because that's exactly what happened on January 6th.
It's called inciting a riot. And
no, there's another thing. It's not just inciting a riot. There's something else. I don't know the actual verbiage, but yeah, riot's one of them. I can't think of the shit. I can't think of the name of it now. It might even be insurrection, but let's see. Yeah, that would be considered insurrection by their own definition. So
If that's the case, then
that's U.S. Code 18 USC 2383. So just saying, you know, it wasn't an insurrection in my opinion. Well, I'm just going to shut up because I won't get flagged.
look, I'll say it. If it was an insurrection, that was the only one I've ever seen where the only people that had firearms were the people defending the building.
Well, committing murder.
Yep.
Just saying. Well, we've been all over the map today, haven't we? Good
I
time.
like it. I like it. We've been on here a while, so
People fall asleep.
yeah. Well, Moose, what you got for him, brother?
All right, let's see. I told everyone don't squat with your spurs on. You know, I had to tell you, but I was a day late. Don't piss in the wind. I guess today I'm going to just tell everyone, if you go to bed with an itchy butt, you're going to wake up with a stinky finger.
Hey, dude. Damn.
Yeah, sorry, T. I had to kind of bust you out on that one, but
Son of a bitch. Oh.
All right,
I
T.
Hold on. I gotta get my thought process back on track here. Okay. Let's see. Same advice I always give you. Pay attention, not only locally, but nationally, internationally. Pay attention to what's going on. I'm not saying stay tuned into the news 24/7, but don't stick your head in the sand. Pay attention, because if something does happen or pops off, you need to be aware so you can make necessary steps to protect you and your loved ones. Whether that's getting the hell out of Dodge, going to stay at grandma's, hunkering down at the house till some stuff blows over, whatever it is you've got, whatever it is you need to do, be ready to do it. And enjoy the loved ones you've got. Spend time with them. Cherish that time, because that's what we're doing all this for. We're not up here just blowing smoke for shits and giggles. We're here trying to divert a catastrophe. And it's to benefit our future generations. So keep that in mind. And as always, if you got it, carry it. If you don't got it, get it. That's all I got.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, thank everybody for coming out tonight. We'll be back live Tuesday. If y'all would, send us some ideas, things y'all want to cover. I know I would like to get back to some educational videos. Maybe we do half the live educational, half bullshit like we always do, right? So I encourage everybody to get on here. You don't have to show your face. You can black out just like I do. Moose, same thing. Throw on a mask like T does. Whatever you want to do. I do have things set into place to protect your identity and IPs and all that good stuff, so you are good to go. So don't panic on that. Anyway, so y'all be safe. I hope y'all have a good weekend. I think we're actually supposed to have some dry weather this weekend, so I'm looking forward to cutting the grass. Yeah. But anyway, once again, thank y'all. Make sure you hit that like, share, love, tell somebody about it. We'll see y'all on the next one. Take care, everybody.
Night, everyone. Peace.
peace.